All right, just a quick recap. There's the interior of the van. You can see where we put the kill mat. We're leaving space here. Like right here is going to be one of those furring strips I was telling you about that'll join the sheets of plywood. We're starting from the top and working towards the back. The floor, subfloor, will actually end 2 feet from the back of the van. So that little mark right there. And what that'll do is our garage space, we're just going to put some vinyl, some tough, really thick vinyl flooring, matting there. And then over here, because this is going to be the bathroom, our shower pan will sit directly on the van floor, because it's going to come up about 1.5 inches. So that's going to leave us a little bit of transition here from the regular van floor to the shower pan, but not much. It's like 1/8 of an inch, easy to overcome with just some normal threshold edging or whatever you call it. So this is the kill mat. We estimate about 30%. This is what's going down. So we use this. This is part of the stuff we use under our hardwood. This has it's foam, so it has a nice cushy feel to it. It kind of deadens the sound of your footfalls. It also has an insulating effect. This is what's going to go down the main pathway. So if you look at that ridge right there, that's the middle of the van. Claudia is now going to go through here, and she's going to put this down the middle of the van, down our main pathway. She'll then come in and she'll fill in these gaps that are going to be left using that Pergo gold that's there. That is mostly going to be underneath our cabinets. So not a whole lot of walking up and down on those. That's why we chose to put this blue stuff in the middle here. That's our main walkway, and this is what's primarily in our house. Close to 2,000 square feet of hardwood floors that I put in. Okay, now we come out here. You can see this is our pattern. I think we showed it to you in our our video the other day about the insulation. This has already been traced onto the plywood. It's going to take 3 sheets of plywood. I did leave, I'm going to lose some. Right? Typically, you would want to get that edge. Where's my finger? There it is. Get that edge as close to this edge as possible. You don't want a lot of waste. But I am going to be cutting a little bit wide of the line. So I'm not, normally you would want to cut to the line. I'm going to be cutting to the outside of the line. That way I can come in and fix things, right? You can't add wood back, but you can certainly take it away. So this is going to be the subfloor. So my next step is to cut all of this out. Claudia's next step is to, where's Claudia? Claudia's next step is to prep the floor with the underlayment. The goal is to have all of this done, the subfloor in before we quit today. We did not meet our goal of beating the heat. It's already damn hot. All right, talk to you later. Okay, that's the rough cut. It's a lot of fun cutting when your safety goggles fill up with sweat. You can't see. Again, it is a rough cut, so there will be some fine tuning. But that's the first board, and there's a notch there, and this is basically going to be where you step up into the van. So, 1 down, 2 more to go. All right, this second piece. This is where you start getting the little nuances of the van. The wheel well, there's one of the frame, the pillars come down there. So here's the end of the step. So I'll be using the jigsaw for this one. All right, second piece down. Third and final. Get that knocked out. All right, got the third and final piece up, ready to cut. These glasses keep catching the sweat as it falls off my brow. So there's a couple cuts that basically are done blind. But still have all my fingers and toes, so. All right, that's 3 down. Still a lot of fine tuning for these, right? This is a very rough cut. Some sanding, some, cutting a little bit. We'll put it in the van, see where it's tight, where it's not. Make sure it's, squared up. But that's the initial cut. I want to show you what Claudia's been up to while I've been doing this. Okay, so Claudia has been diligently working away here. Unfortunately, she's in the sun. But she's taken the pattern and she's laid the pergo and the underlayment down on that pattern, and now she's cutting it to fit. Looks like she's going to have to use half of whatever this on this side to finish that side, or we have more, I think, Claudia. Yeah, I know. So yeah, she's working this. This will be a little easier to fine tune because it's easier to cut. But she's working away. Should be done here probably within the next 10 minutes. So I wanted to point this out. This is what plywood has a tendency to do if you get too close to the edge. It tends to rip out. Here is not that big of a deal because this is all going to be under, underlayment. You won't even see this. But when I make the cabinets, obviously I have to take this into consideration. Nothing too close. You can also, what you can do is you can sandwich this in between another piece so that it gives you a nice break, and doesn't peel this off like that. You can also see people use tape, but what I learned is you take a clamp, you take a piece of wood, a small piece of wood, clamp it here, clamp it here, clamp it here, and then you cut down that line and it keeps that from breaking off. You get a nice clean cut. Now on the other side, it's also clean, so you can reverse your cuts and get a nice clean cut. Ignore all the squiggliness there. That's going to be fixed. That's the fine tuning I'm talking about.
Okay, so what I was doing while Chris was cutting the subfloor to size, I used the template that we used for the sizing of the subfloor to cut the pergo underlayment for under the subfloor. And then we moved it into the van and taped it down, and now it should be just about the right size. If we missed any little gaps, we'll just have to live with that, I guess. Fix it. But this is pretty much exactly what's going to be under the subfloor. And yeah, you can see it's covering the surface except from the area that we're not using. We also used some furring strips for underneath the underlayment so that Chris will be able to attach the subfloor to these little doohickeys. And that will pull them even. So that was my part.
All right, subfloor's in. As you can see, we had the pergo underneath it. You saw the kill mat, the pergo, and the little furring strips. So I know we marked the valleys. So right here, there's a furring strip, and that is not attached to the van. But what it'll allow me to do is I can get a couple of wood, 2 wood screws here, countersink them, short wood screws, and they will pull that furring strip, and they will connect these 2 panels with the 4 screws right there. I've got another one right here, another one right here, and then a 4th one out here. And that's going to, and we'll do the same on the second panel. Same amount of connections, same process. And that, so you can see here, like, come around. Here it has a tendency to go high, but when I connect them with the furring strips, these will be these will be flat, and they will have a nice even edge. A little gap here I'm going to have to just kind of tweak. There's about a, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch. I got to figure out why that didn't set exactly right. I think I'm a little high there. So yeah, but this is our subfloor. Like I said, the batteries will be here. So the batteries, total weight of the battery system, each battery weighs about 97 pounds, not about, they weigh 97 pounds. Then all the other stuff is another about 40 pounds, 50 pounds. So we're looking at roughly 300 and, let's say 350 pounds that'll be sitting right here, just in electricity. I got to build the bench that's going to sit here. So that's going to put us, you know, we're going to have weight here. And then when you come around over to here, our water tank sits right above this. It actually straddles this wheel well. So it's a 36-gallon tank at 8.5 pounds per gallon. So that's going to be well over 300 pounds holding this portion down. So that's going to take care of the side to side. We did leave gaps. It's going to, so the side, it'll have some room to move as the van moves, but the weight is going to keep it from really moving. And then the furring strips will keep it from moving north and south. Walking on this, I feel no soft spots, and we're still missing a layer. We still have to put the luxury vinyl in. So real happy with this. And let's just see real quick what kind of headroom I still have. So we're gonna put in furring strips on the ceiling, on these ribs across the ceiling. So this is currently 79 inches. The furring strips will be 1/2 inch, so that's going to be 78.5 inches. And then the ceiling will be 1/4 inch. So we're going to end up with about 78 inches of headspace. Now the bed is going to take about 6 inches. So that's going to be 72, and I am right at 72 inches. Gravity wins, so I'm just under 72 inches. There's a good chance that I'll be able to walk through this van without having to do any kind of head bobbing. But if I have to, a little bit to this point, so it might be something like this where I'm walking, but as soon as I get past the bed, I got plenty of space. Probably would have been the same case out here if we put more insulation there. But if we put it out here, I would be walking pretty crooked. Yeah, subfloor. Next thing, I mentioned furring strips. Use the same stuff. I'm going to cut 4 inches, 5 inches wide, length of the van. 1/2 inch is going to, this is the middle right here. I'll put a riv nut right here. The 1/2 inch will suck it up to that bow. Right, there's an arc there. And then I'll use metal screws here and here. And I've got some flexible adhesive, right? We'll put little dollops here and here and here. So if the screws do give, the adhesive will still hold it. That's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. And then I'm going to run along here all the way down the side of the van. I'm going to run a furring strip all the way down the side of the van. Here will be a furring strip, and then we'll connect those with perpendicular furring strips to give me the ability to frame in the walls and the windows. But first, electric is going in. We've been out here, what, 2 hours? Within 15 minutes. I mean, I was dry when we started. I feel like I just got out of a pool. So we got to get at least some fans going in here. I could probably pull in a fan from the garage, but yeah, the sun is the heat here, the humidity is just unforgiving. So that'll be the next thing, is electric. Frame in the electric. Well, I'll frame in the walls, then I'll frame in the electric, and get the batteries in here, get them charging, maybe get the AC running. So, okay, that's it for now. Thank you all.